Hey guys, welcome. If you're new here and you don't know who I am, I'm Christine. I'm owner and content creator of bloomingbrilliant.net, where I share educational resources, parenting advice, and of course information about homeschooling. I'm a homeschool mom of two. I homeschool my 13-year-old daughter and my 9-year-old son right here in Brooklyn, New York, and I love to share a homeschooling journey with you. If you're new here and you are interested in homeschooling, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're alerted when we post new videos. So in this video, I'm going to debunk homeschool myths, and while I am proving that they aren't true for most homeschoolers, I can't say that there aren't any homeschoolers that, fulfill the myth that I'm debunking. There is always some truth in, things, but for the most part, a lot of these are just crazy and ridiculous, but there's always some truth in some things. Like you can find a homeschooler who fits one of these myths. So there are a lot of homeschool myths out there, a lot of preconceived notions when it comes to homeschooling, and I'm going to list a few of them that are common and explain how they are not true to the majority of homeschoolers. So one of the top things people think when you say you are homeschooling, and I've actually had this conversation with someone who just believed it and told me later on, is that you're super religious. So I actually did have a conversation with somebody and they said, well, when you told me that you guys were homeschoolers, I just assumed that you all were religious, because that's all I ever have seen was religious people choose to homeschool, and that isn't the case. While I am Catholic, I don't consider myself religious or even super religious at all. I have talked about this in the past in videos that I am very open-minded when it comes to religion. I like learning about other people's religions. I am just not stuck on my chosen path. I just grew up Catholic. And this doesn't, it's not true because I'm not super religious, but there's so many homeschoolers from all different religious backgrounds, and some people who don't even participate in, religion or structured religion or structured, spiritual path or whatever. But, so not true. Just plain not true that all homeschoolers are religious. So the next homeschool myth is the one that every homeschooler has heard, has probably worried about when they first started, and hates with a passion. Like, we hate this myth with a passion. Like, it is the worst myth. And that is, homeschool children don't socialize. So this myth, in most circumstances, is just plain false. Just plain false. Many homeschool children are put into different kinds of classes, whether they are online, whether they are with homeschool co-ops, whether they are in community colleges, or all these different things that we can do as homeschoolers in museums, in libraries. They get together with kids in the neighborhood. If they are religious, they probably have some kind of youth group or some kind of religious education class that they go to. So there are plenty of ways for your kids to socialize with their peers, but there's also tons of ways for them to socialize just in their daily life, in your community as well. If your kids are playing sports, guess what? They're socializing. So don't even get me started on this one. This myth is like the worst myth ever. Not to mention that homeschool children can socialize with people of various age groups because they are not taught that they are only to talk to the kids in their class who are the same socioeconomic status as them usually, who are the same race as them usually, who are the same age as them usually, and all the same. They are more open to talk to all kinds of people that they come in contact with, grown-ups, older senior citizens, young children, everyone. They are more likely to socialize with everyone versus just the people that they know. And now, if their child is introverted and shy to begin with, that's who they are. So that doesn't mean they can't socialize. It just means that they are more in their shell And they would be like that if they went to school too. So that myth is just out the door. The next myth is that homeschoolers are all naturally gifted and they're super intelligent. There are many homeschoolers who are naturally gifted and super intelligent. There's some who are not, who struggle with learning. That doesn't matter. All of our homeschoolers and all of our kids in school are special and smart and all of that. Homeschool does have the advantage that if you are struggling with something, that you can take as much time as you need in order to get it and master it into the best of your ability. And that does give an edge to homeschoolers, which makes them seem like they're super intelligent and everything, but it's not because they are super intelligent that they homeschool necessarily. So there's that one debunked. The next homeschool myth is that homeschoolers are dumb, that they don't get taught, that they don't have any kind of education, and they're just stupid. And nobody, no child, no grown-up, nobody, even if you don't like their thoughts and opinions, is stupid or, unintelligent. They all have the power to learn and grow. And we've all had moments where maybe we felt or have been labeled stupid or unintelligent, but that's not, no. Homeschoolers still get educated and they're not stupid. Everybody has their own gifts and talents, and maybe sometimes they struggle with things, but so do traditional school children. And like I said in our last myth, we can take as much time as we need to work on. So homeschoolers are not dumb or stupid or unintelligent. Sorry. If you guys can hear noise in the background, I'm sorry. I'm not home, if you can't tell. And they're watching YouTube videos, which include some YouTubers who play games and are loud. Homeschoolers can't get into college is another very popular myth, and this is just not true. More than half of homeschoolers go into college, and not only that, succeed in college and adulthood. So that is false. A lot of homeschoolers actually go into college earlier than the typical child because they are able to go into their interest and really learn, go ahead. They can go ahead of their peers versus getting stuck in whatever, school track that they are put on in traditional school. With that, another myth is that homeschoolers don't graduate high school or don't get a diploma, and that's not true. While it is different than the traditional schools and how they do high school, your kids, if they're homeschooled, can still get a high school diploma. You, the parent, are just the one giving it to them. You get a diploma from a store or online, and you fill it out and you give it to your kid. You're also the guidance counselor who sets up their transcripts so they could get into college, which is totally fine. And you put that in and you submit that to the colleges so that they're accepted and all of that. So that's not true. Homeschool kids can go to have that high school diploma experience and graduation experience as well. So with that whole high school experience, besides just the diploma and the graduation of that, is they can't have an actual graduation, and they don't have like prom and things like that, which if your child wants that, they can totally have that with their friends and peers. But there's also many homeschooling groups that do have like homeschool prom and homeschool like graduation ceremony and things like that. So you just have to do your research, but you can totally still have a traditional homeschool graduation high school experience thing if that's what you want. Another myth is that homeschool is not an accepted form of education, and I want to know who doesn't accept it, because college is accepted. It actually brings diversity to their university. That rhymes. But it's true. And so it's really great to homeschool and share your homeschooling story with the colleges and stuff. They totally love it. So it's accepted by most colleges, and who else needs to accept it? Like the Department of Education here in New York accepts it. So like, who doesn't accept it? Another myth is that homeschoolers do not learn as much as public school children or traditional school children. And I don't know how to explain how this one is false, besides the fact that most of our kids do very, very well in, on test, when it comes to standardized test. When it comes to college, they do really well. Obviously, they're getting an education from somewhere, and we really shouldn't be competing with each other, like who's learning more and better and faster. But I mean, they're learning just as well, if not better, home than they are in traditional school, because they have one-on-one care and help, and if they need to, instruction. They can go at their own pace. Everything is personalized to them. So why wouldn't they learn just as well or better? Probably better. Also, my daughter just told me, or reminded me, that homeschoolers get to choose like their interest and really, learn about it and whatever they want to do, and then they can decide early on what they want to do with their lives and go for it. Versus public school, who is taught they have to learn this and they have to do that, and they really don't get a say in their education. So homeschoolers get a say, and they like that. This is a myth, supposedly, that homeschoolers just play video games all day. And that's true. I can't lie. Homeschoolers just play video games all day. We never take our pajamas off. That's true too. And we just sit and we watch TV all day. And when we're not watching TV, we're playing video games. And we call it school. We call it school. Well, it's kind of true. They definitely have plenty of time to play video games and to whatever they're interested in, dive into, but they still have, in many homeschools, not all, they still have a structure and classes and lessons that they have to do as well, besides video games. And even if they just played video games all day, there is so much you can learn from video games. The next homeschooling myth is one that even homeschool parents feel sometimes, and it's that parents are not qualified to teach their children. And this isn't true, because a lot of times, even if you aren't as educated as you want to be, because nobody knows all the answers to everything, you feel like you can't teach them. But you are your child's very first teacher. And just because they become, the age of where traditional school can educate them doesn't mean that you have to not teach them. And you have to give that up. Many of traditional school parents continue to teach their children by being there and helping them with their homework and things like that. So just because they decided to do traditional schooling doesn't mean that, they are completely hands-off when it comes to their child's education. So just because of that doesn't mean that you're not capable of teaching your child. You're more than capable to homeschool your child. There's fantastic resources out there like Google that can provide you ways to look up, things that you don't know together. Learning alongside your child, regardless of the resource that you use, is a great way to learn and a great way to teach your kids. The next homeschool myth is that your kids cannot participate in extracurricular activities like sports and things like that. And that's generally not true. If it is not attached to a school and they just have it private for that school, then maybe that they can't participate in. But there are plenty of other sports and activities and extracurricular things that your child can do, and it's actually a great way to get them to socialize. The next myth is that homeschooling only takes place in the United States. That's not true. Homeschooling is worldwide. There are homeschoolers from all around the world, and that's another great thing. If your kid participates in online classes, they can actually socialize with kids from all over the world, and it's a really great opportunity that they can actually have. Another homeschooling myth is that homeschoolers stay home all the time and their parents teach them, and that's that. But a lot of times kids who are homeschooled go to classes in all different places and have the opportunity to learn from all different kinds of people. So it's not just their parents teaching them. It's teachers from all over. And even if they do online classes, they're getting the opportunity to learn from people all over the world. Last myth for this video. I'm sure there's plenty more that we can talk about, but last myth. The myth is that homeschooling usually takes place from a stay-at-home mom who doesn't work. This has not been the case for many homeschoolers. Many homeschoolers actually, either the moms do the homeschooling, but a lot of them work, whether it is from home or outside the home. And also there are a bunch of homeschool dads out there as well that take on that role as the homeschool parent. And a lot of times even it's like a whole family thing. It's a lifestyle. So it's the family schooling. It's not really just a homeschool mom or homeschool dad taking on all that responsibility. A lot of families do it as a group. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have any myths that you've heard of yourself, or if you have any comments or questions, put them in the comment section below. Check the description box for more information as always. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you think somebody else can benefit from this video, please share. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.